Hey listeners! As always, we are using our special intro music this episode, but we have an additional piece of music that you'll hear when our heroes run into a particular NPC about halfway through. This piece was generously provided to us by the guitar duo known as Soundmakers, whose work can be found at youtube.com/BobTheSheep22. Thanks. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Extraordinary League, Episode 46. A Power to Rival the Sun. The League's war against Phyrexia nears an end. Every day brings the dreaded Doomstar closer to completion, after which point, the parasitic plane's tyrannical grip on the multiverse will be unbreakable. In a starry, war-torn universe, the League's most elite members execute mission after mission to gather allies, weaken Doom's empire, and collect as much information as they can so that they can stand a chance during their final confrontation with Doom's forces. But one member of the League has a different mission. Mordin Solus, recently awakened to his true nature as a planeswalker, has followed the writings in a mysterious tome to another universe altogether. With any luck, he can track down the final gem that can be used to defeat Phyrexia once and for all. As always, we see the yellow crawl of exposition disappear slowly into a dark, starry sky. But then, we start seeing some of the stars float down in strange, irregular patterns. But those aren't stars. They're snowflakes. We pan down and see that we've been looking up at the night sky from a snowy hill, surrounded by black and gray evergreens, branches dusted in snow. A valley stretches out before us for miles in every direction, ringed by jagged mountains shrouded in clouds. This scene of quiet serenity lasts for several long seconds before it is broken by a loud crack. A white, coruscating bubble of electricity emerges out of nowhere and disappears a moment later, depositing 5 members of the Extraordinary League onto the snowy landscape. Playing Mordin Solus is Claire Mulkerin.
I'm walking through the plains, just walking through the plains. When I think about it too much, it gives my head a pain. It makes no damn sense, but by now I don't care. We have no more time for existential despair. My once simple theories are now complex and chaotic, so call it magic if you want, or extremely strong biotics. I've turned off my brain. A smile I will feign, just walking through the plains.
Playing Titania from A Midsummer Night's Dream is Megan Bob.
What league cell wakes me from my flowery bed?
Playing Sombra from Overwatch is Kit Mulkerin.
¿Me extrañaste?
Playing Elijah Snow from Planetary is Miles Schneiderman.
I'm the 4th player.
Playing Skeletor from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is Liz Logan.
My song is at the top of the charts! I'm famous!
And I'm Dan Mulkerin, your Game Master. The 5 of you have appeared into this snow-covered landscape, forests and hills stretching away to mountains in the distance. Mordin, you are now sporting a gold ring with a green gemstone on one finger, and you are carrying the thick Planeswalker tome under one arm. The book pointed you toward this plane as the location of the final gemstone/ring you're after, and even gave a precise location as to where it was left. There's no telling if it's still there after all this time, but it might at least be a place to start. So, what do you do?
So do we have any way of searching for this magically? We don't have the little, compass necklace anymore, right?
Not anymore, no. All you have to go on is the location that was given to you in the book. The section of the tome that talks about the 5th ring indicates that it was left in a monastery at a mountain peak. There's, several illustrations of this mountain in the book, so you might be able to, match it up with one of the mountains you can see on the horizon.
Sure, I guess we'll, look for landmarks to the best we can, and if not, I guess start walking in a direction until we meet someone.
Sure. The illustration doesn't perfectly match up with any of the mountain peaks, but like you find one that from a certain angle could probably be it. So like without anything else, that's kind of at least the best place for you guys to start.
What does this world feel like? We don't know anything about it, do we?
You do not. The description given in the book was really just talking about the ring that was deposited here, not the world itself.
Does this look familiar to anybody? Anybody feel at home?
Don't think I wrote about this in any planetary guides.
Could I sense magic?
Yes, you can. This world that you guys are on is very magical.
This world does not smell nearly evil enough.
Don't worry, Skeletor, you have plenty of time to stink up the place. So I'm going to open up my Omni tool. I'm going to start just mapping the terrain as we go, and we're going to just pick a direction, and hopefully there's some sentient creature we can ask for directions at some point.
What is this for? I thought you were magic now.
Titania gives Sombra a quiet high five.
It's true I have gained some new abilities recently, but I am still at my core a scientist, so we will proceed in an orderly fashion. I'm also a soldier, and so I need all of you to have your wits about you. Most of the planes that we go to end up being fairly dangerous, so...
How boring. I'm going to climb this tree.
Titania uses her plant control to have the tree just sort of shake Skeletor off.
Skeletor, I'm going to need you to roll an endurance check.
Oh no! Titania! We talked about this.
Okay. Uh-oh. I rolled a 3.
All right, Skeletor is knocked out.
Sombra sighs and then hands Eli like $5.
Mordin checks, he's got 4 doses of Metagel, and it's like, I don't know if we want to waste one on this.
We don't.
We'll pick him up for now until he regains consciousness and kind of carry him along.
All right.
Can Sombra pick up any like Wi-Fi signals, any like technology signals coming through on her like devices?
No, you are picking up no artificial radio signals. You're not picking up any signs of any electronics aside from what Mordin is carrying. This place seems quite primitive, or at the very least, like, isolated from any type of civilization.
We are officially in the middle of nowhere.
It's where I do my best work.
Well, there's a story there, I can tell.
I didn't say anything.
So, you begin to head off in the direction of the mountain. This world does appear quite Earth-like, and you can occasionally see deer or rabbits darting through the trees around you. The shape of the mountain looms larger and closer when you come over a low hill, and you see a figure a short distance below you. At this distance, you can see that it's a human male dressed in a simple tunic and trousers. He's currently on his knees feeding a fresh piece of firewood into a small campfire, and you can see a few large cloth sacks are sitting nearby. What do you do?
Do we have our image inducers?
Yes, you do.
Can we maybe bust out some of our old Westeros gear?
Sure. I mean, you can, because you went to Westeros.
Yeah.
If other people want to use their image inducers, they can choose what they look like.
I'm fine.
Titania will stay this way. It tends to work.
I will too, since I'm stunned.
So like Mordin is the only one who's planning on making himself look like a Renaissance human.
I mean, Mordin's, I assume, is planning on making himself look not like an
Yeah,
alien.
yeah.
Which is...
I mean, yes. Basically everybody else. Well, wait, Skeletor.
So
Hold on a second.
Skeletor,
Someone
but yeah.
pull that hood over him.
I am stunned, so I could be a dead body, I guess. I don't know. I got my face eaten off by a wild animal.
You kind of look like you're wearing a mask, though.
Sombra could just be invisible, too. Like,
She could. That's true. So Sombra's gonna go ahead and just fade into invisibleness.
And Mordin, are you jumping into your noblewoman disguise from Westeros?
yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Mordana returns.
That's right.
Oh, poor Dante.
So, Mordin, you have your disguise up. Would you like to descend and talk to this human?
Sure.
He glances up as you approach and stands slightly warily, but not, like, hostilely. His eyes sort of glance over Mordana, who is dressed in a way that he would expect. He's kind of interested in Elijah Snow. His gaze lingers on Titania, and then he, like, visibly recoils, and you see him, like, glance over at a torch lying near the campfire, and he says, is one of you a necromancer or something?
No, it's a very convincing costume. Sorry, we're theater performers.
Yes!
Hey, Nani.
Yes!
Snow just like turns to Mordin, just gives him this look, like a lingering stare.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm fresh out of coin to give you. I guess, good luck to you on your travels. Where is it that you're bound exactly?
That's kind of the problem. We've gotten a little turned around in the woods, actually. Where's the nearest settlement?
Let's see. Nearest settlement would be Iverstead, which is gonna be... And he kind of, like, turns vaguely in the direction that you guys were walking. And he says, shouldn't be too far of a walk in that direction. I'm actually heading from there myself.
Mordin's gonna pop open the Planeswalker tome and flip through to try to find the location that we're going for. I'm gonna, like, show him if there's a picture or just tell him the description and ask him if he's heard of it.
Yeah, he takes a look and is sort of, like, looking at the different images. If I'm correct, that mountain looks like it's probably the throat of the world. You said you're looking for a monastery on the top? Yeah, it's probably High Hrothgar you're looking for. He points at one of the mountains, not terribly far away. It shouldn't take you guys too long to get there. And he says, the climb's a bit of a bitch, but once you're at the top, the monks are, well, they're not the friendliest people, but they're not the friendliest people.
This was lovely. What's your name?
I'm Klimek.
One moment. I'm gonna turn and say, this guy's really helpful. We should, like, give him something or something, right? Is that, like...
Can I wake up right now?
Yeah, you can regain consciousness.
Ah!
No!
I was in a terrible fight with some branch troll.
Yeah, truly the tree was fearsome.
I defeated it, though.
Klimek is, like, staring at Skeletor, his eyes large and round, and says, wow, he is giving an amazing performance right now. I really believed that he was in a fight with a branch troll.
I'll give you a performance, young whippersnapper.
His method.
Can I, like, grant a fairy boon or something? Like, I don't know, because I don't have anything to give him.
I'll let you do something minor for him if you want. Something minor and nice. What would you like to do for him?
I like to think Titania doing magic in, like, Skyrim is her just hacking into the code, all Bethesda style.
She opens the console commands.
Yep.
Titania looks around this world at the relative sort of amenities available, pats him on the shoulder, and just sort of whispers, "You will always smell nice."
Thank you? And yeah, as he pulls away, like, all of you can just smell this incredibly pleasant odor coming off of him. It actually, like, kind of makes you want to hang around with him a little longer. But yeah, there you go, Titania. You have granted him a minor fairy boon.
He's going to be very popular.
So you guys bid farewell to Klimek and continue on your way, heading for the throat of the world.
Sombra reappears, and she's holding a cheese wheel, and is like, this was the only thing worth stealing off of him, so now we have food.
Good work, Sombra.
It's all right.
you.
He smells good enough. He'll be able to get as many cheese wheels as he wants from now on.
That's right.
Okay, all right. I was momentarily concerned as Meg and Bob, like, oh no, is he going to die?
He'll be fighting the cheese wheels off with a stick after what you gave him.
Congratulations, Sombra. You are evil because you are a cheese thief now. Ah, you've learned.
Sombra leans toward Mordin and was like, did we really not have anyone else?
We don't have a base anymore. He doesn't have a house anymore. He had to go somewhere. So we drew straws. Don't tell him.
So all of you eventually reach the foot of this mountain, and you find a narrow path winds its way around the outside, slowly spiraling upward toward the summit. The path is covered in snow, but as you begin to climb your way up, occasionally the snow will thin away long enough that you can see worn stone steps beneath. And as you ascend, you can occasionally come across these little small shrines. Each features a tablet that talks about one part of the tale of the founding of this monastery in ages past. You guys are about halfway up this mountain when you round a bend in the path and come upon a trio of hulking creatures, at least a foot or two taller than a human male and considerably bulkier. They are covered in shaggy white fur and have this ape-like shape to their bodies with long muscular arms, a mouth full of jagged teeth, and a third eye in the center of their foreheads.
Oh no, I think these are real trolls.
As you say this, Skeletor, the three creatures turn, spot you, and begin rushing forward in a distinctively hostile manner. Let's roll initiative.
Can real trolls be hurt with real guns? Asking for a friend.
Well, they are weak to fire. Remember that.
Ooh, it's Mordin's time to shine.
Nope. No, you're incorrect about that. I got an 8.
8.
I got a 13.
12.
Siete.
Elijah's up first.
Elijah turns to Skeletor and says, "See? You're so annoying that everything on this world just sees you and wants to kill you. He just like sighs, with the weight of the world on his shoulders, kneels down, puts his hand on the ground, and decides to make the immediate area in front of him on the ground covered in ice as these things run. That is a yellow.
The ground in front of these frost trolls, it was already covered in snow. Now it is covered in very hard and jagged ice, which the trolls slip and fall on as they rush forward. They are not deterred in their rush forward, but they are slowed and damaged in the process. Which brings us to Titania.
Titania steps forward, and that aura of power sort of settles on her, and she looks at them and says, I wouldn't. I'm going to use my animal control and my intimidation.
So frost trolls are not animals.
Oh, they're not?
No, so you can't control them. You can, however, just straight up try to intimidate them if that's what you would like to do.
You know what? Yes, I will. That is a yellow.
So one of the trolls, I'm going to say the one in the center, seems to just get the brunt of your eldritch aura. His 3 eyes go wide, and he immediately turns and begins trying to, scramble away, his claws trying to dig into the ice below him. He's not technically gone, but he's gone. He has no interest in fighting you guys at this point.
He's emotionally left the fight.
Very much so, yes. Mordin, you are up now.
Well, I heard a rumor that they're weak to fire, so let's do an area incinerate. That is a green. Look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, so there is a sudden explosion of fire. The frost trolls caught in the explosion take extra damage, because they are indeed weak to fire, and they are not looking good. Skeletor, it is your turn. There are 2 left, badly injured.
I will slap one.
Skeletor, make an agility check as you step out onto this ice.
Oh no!
I rolled a 7.
So Skeletor, you slip on the ice and go sliding. You are sliding toward the trolls, so you get to make your fighting check at -2 column shifts to slap one.
Yes. I got a green by 1 point.
You guys are traveling up this narrow, winding mountain pass with, a sheer drop off to your left side. Skeletor goes sliding forward on this ice, hand reared back to slap this troll. You do indeed slap it as you go forward, but then you hit him, and the 2 of you slide over to the edge of the cliff.
No,
The troll goes spilling over the side. Skeletor, you manage to reach out the last second and grab onto the edge, but you are hanging off. So one of the trolls is down, there's 1 left, and it is Sombra's turn.
Sombra's gonna step up to stand beside Mordin, pull out her gun, and unload all 3 of her machine pistol rounds. It's yellow.
Because Mordin destroyed his body armor on the last attack, Sombra, your machine pistol hits through him, and he slumps over motionless on the ice. The path is now clear, with Skeletor dangling off the edge. What would you guys like to do? It would be so easy. So easy.
Sombra's gonna toss one of her little translocators, maybe a few feet away from the group, and then grab onto Skeletor.
Ah, yes. Help me.
She releases the little translocator beacon, and then they both teleport back onto the safety of a flat surface.
Skeletor, you are safe once again.
I feel much better now. Did you see my slap?
It was a good slap.
So you continue your way up this mountain pass, and eventually you come to the monastery near the summit of the mountain. This is a very grim and austere building of gray stone. Mordin, it actually reminds you of the militaristic buildings of the Night's Watch back on Westeros. You see that there are stone steps leading up to the metal doors that lead within this monastery.
Okay, so been on a world kind of like this before. A lot of times places like this are, welcoming to travelers, all that kind of thing, but to be honest, I don't really know. We know nothing about this plane. They may, roast us and eat us alive or something. So we're just gonna have to see what happens.
They're gonna have a bit of a hard time roasting me.
All right, Mordana is going to knock on the door.
After a few moments, the metal door swings open, and you can see that there is a monk dressed in a colorless hooded robe with a long beard who looks at you from within the building. His eyes glance over all 5 of you, and then he just quietly stands aside to allow all of you to enter.
What are you looking at?
He looks at you kind of in that same degree of shock that Klimix looked at you in, but he very politely averts his eyes after that.
So, what's the Wi-Fi password?
He gives you a weird look, but then just sort of like gestures within.
Yeah, I figured.
You find yourselves in a stone chamber lit by braziers and a skylight in the roof letting in a shaft of silvery moonlight. There's a handful of these bearded monks dressed in gray hooded robes that go about their business, giving you a brief glance as you enter. One of them steps forward, nodding at you as he does so, and says, "Greetings, pilgrims. What brings you to High Hrothgar?"
Magic and war.
And evil!
We are archaeologists.
Of evil!
We're looking for a relic that we wanted to study, that we heard might be in this area. I say, I'm gonna hold up my ring and say, looks kind of like this.
He glances at the ring and says, "We don't make a habit of collecting any sorts of valuables or trinkets at this monastery. Perhaps you have been mistaken in your assumptions."
Okay. Have you heard anything about a ring like this? Seen any drawings, heard any tales, anything in this general area? Sound familiar or no?
"I am sorry, traveler. I do not know of this ring of which you speak."
Sombra's gonna lean, toward Mordin so she can whisper, hey, Rana, aren't the rings, inside of a little orb, like a little capsule?
Oh,
a
yeah.
stone?
That's a thing. Thank you. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna open up the book and show him a picture of one of the stones.
When you raise up the book, his eyes go wide in recognition and surprise. He actually ignores the picture you're showing him and instead looks at the image on the cover of the book, which, if you remember, kind of looks like an upraised hand with all 5 fingers pointing upward. He has obvious surprise painted on his face, and then he looks at you and says, "You are one that walks between worlds."
I mean, how many times do you have to do a thing before it becomes, the thing you do? Like, if you just do it once, then it's like...
He gestures for you to follow as he begins leading you through the halls of the monastery. "Our written history states that our order was founded centuries ago by a chieftain who sought a place to peacefully study the secret power of the Draconic language. We encourage the spread of that version of history, even writing it down on the tablets on the path leading up to this place. But in truth, our order predates that chieftain. He was simply the one to discover us. Our real founder was one like you, one who walked between worlds, who warned of a threat that sought to devour planes, and charged us with protecting a key to this threat's ultimate defeat."
That is interesting.
Now you are speaking my language very directly.
At this point, he reaches and pushes open a set of heavy doors. You step out onto a wide ledge of rock, which ends at a jagged point overlooking a wide valley below, and you can see a figure standing at the edge of this cliff with a heavy fur cloak whipping in the wind and a hood covering their head. The monk says, "As it happens, you are not the only planeswalker to visit us recently. Not long ago, a visitor came to our doors having recently arrived on the world of Tamriel. This visitor knew nothing of the threat our founder spoke of, but this visitor was also not just a planeswalker, she was a Dovahkiin, a dragonborn." And the figure standing by the ledge turns, lowering the hood of her cloak as she does so. Long silvery hair streams out in the wind, and she looks at you with her violet-colored eyes and says, "I told you, I prefer the title Mother of Dragons."
Oh shit.
Daenerys Targaryen?
"You've heard of me."
Yes, we have, and we need your help, because winter is coming.
We cut back briefly to the snowy hill that our heroes arrived on not long ago. For the second time, the natural serenity of this place is broken, not by the crackling electricity of a DDC, but by the encroaching sound of machinery and the stench of gasoline. A greasy spot seems to appear above the ground, and a group of aliens step out onto the snow. They look briefly around the area before their gazes fix on the far-off peak of the throat of the world. Back at High Hrothgar, Daenerys approaches you, Mordin, with great excitement and surprise and says, "You've been to Westeros?"
We have. We were seeking an artifact known as the Stone of Grace, which we heard your followers had. We were able to recover it, along with several others. How much do you know about Phyrexia?
Only what these monks, these greybeards, have said. It's some sort of threat that was spoken of in their earliest records, something that they themselves had established to hold some sort of key that was designed to defeat this threat.
How did you get here?
I'm not entirely sure. It was back across the narrow sea, and I was under attack by some assassins who were seeking to dethrone me, and I just felt something inside me. I don't know, spark? Does that make sense? And then I was here.
Yes, indeed. Planeswalker, rare individual, seems to exist all throughout the multiverse, has the ability to travel between planes, might be genetic, not sure at this juncture. Seems to require being a biological organism, but not certain of that. But yes, Phyrexians, parasitic organisms, travel between worlds. Very bad news.
So, is this then what you're looking for? And she reaches into one of her pouches and produces a topaz of the exact same size and shape of the other 4 gems that you've uncovered. The monks entrusted me with this when they realized that I was a planeswalker, but I wasn't sure what to do with it, so I've just been carrying it around.
Would you feel able to entrust it to us?
If this would help you in your quest, and your quest is to help protect worlds like this and my own, then I see no reason not to.
It will, and it is.
We are part of a group that travels the worlds and protects them from threats like Phyrexia. If you're willing to help us and you prove to us that you can be trusted, then we can take you with us and teach you how to visit other worlds and get back to your own as well if that's something you desire.
Her eyes light up at this, and you can tell, like, she is intensely curious and interested in exploring the multiverse. But before she's able to respond, you begin to hear frightened cries of Tova coming from the monastery. Looking out, you see a dark shape has flown in front of the moon and seems to be heading directly for you. The shape of the thing suggests a huge dragon with wings pumping and mouth glowing red, but the moonlight glints off of its black metallic hide, and you realize that this thing is unmistakably Phyrexian. What's more, there are a number of other shapes hanging off of it, other Phyrexians being carried toward you. What do you do?
My evil brethren have arrived.
Skeletor, shut up.
You can join them.
Pretty sure you owe Sombra a life debt or some shit anyway.
Sombra, I will trade you his life debt for, and she reaches into her pocket and, like, just whatever she has in there, some moth wings and, like, a bit of moss.
I will take it for half of a moth.
Done.
Mordin says to Daenerys, you seen anything like this before?
I've seen dragons before, yes. This one looks unnatural.
This is a Phyrexian. Don't let it touch you.
I don't intend to.
Great. All right, League, let's kick some ass.
The Phyrexians swoop in, and this dragon lands on the ledge directly in front of you, and the Phyrexians riding on it leap off. There are 4 figures that look very much like normal humans wearing archaic metal armor. They have not undergone extensive Phyrexian reconstruction from the looks of it, aside from their glowing eyes and their gaunt, sickly facial features. The main feature that sets them apart are the rust-colored metallic spikes that sprout up like a crown where their hair would normally be. And then there's also 2 creatures which Mordin recognizes from Jurassic Park as slash panthers, which are the shape of a predatory cat, but entirely skeletal and made from rust-red metal. Their claws are terrifyingly long, and their rib cages contain a large crystal glowing with a fiery light. There's 2 slash panthers. There are 4 fallen pheromancers, if you want to look up that picture, and they are led by 1 molten steel dragon.
Dan,
Yes.
can one of them be a Phyrexia turned Panther?
Oh, one of the slash panthers?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I know. It'd be like really emotional.
Yeah, if you want your panther companion to have been Phyrexianized when the Phyrexians assimilated Eternia.
that's so
That's
terrible.
so sad.
No, do it! Do it, you fucking cowards! It's sad and good sometimes.
If Mordin can cure Panther, that would be so amazing.
Dan, just to check, I have the cure, but we still don't have the ability to cure the mind control apart from through the method of entering the metaverse, which we can't do, right?
That is correct.
But we could, in theory, like, sedate it and,
Yes.
like, cure the physical aspects of it and then, like, work on the other stuff later.
Correct. You could technically restore Panther to being just a normal cat and who's not infectious, but it would still, like, be driven to kill things on behalf of Phyrexia and, like, follow the commands of doom and that sort of thing.
Okay. We can work on that later.
Yeah, Morgana still exists.
So it sounds like, Liz, you want to go ahead and say that one of the Slash Panthers is Panther? All right. What do you recognize about this Slash Panther that leads you to realize that it's your old friend?
It's purple.
It's purple. There's a purple Slash Panther that Skeletor recognizes. Let's roll initiative.
Whatcho?
11.
12.
10.
Sersh Cow. I'm saying 9 in Solarian because apparently we're all doing our native languages right now.
All right,
so.
great. Is that actually 9 in Solarian?
I'm making stuff up. No,
Like,
I don't.
okay.
There's no.
I never heard no fucking Solarian talk.
Yeah.
That's canon now.
Search
All right. Sersh Cow is 9 in Solarian.
From the mouth of no less than Mordin Solus himself.
That's right. If you can't trust him about that, who can you trust?
Absolutely. All right, Elijah, you were up first. What would you like to do?
Elijah, would you like to hold and do a move with Titania?
Yes, that'd be great. All right, so Elijah looks at Titania, gives her a wink, and holds his action.
All right, Titania, it is your turn.
Titania holds a hand up to the sky, and you can see the clouds just start swirling and very sort of right over these guys, and then the rain starts to come down. You hear that crack of thunder.
As the rain comes down, Elijah is going to freeze it and make it pointy.
So, Titania, I'm going to need you to roll weather control. Elijah, go ahead and roll on your cryokinesis.
I'm going to use a little bit of karma for this.
Yeah, me too. I'm spending 16 karma to get that to yellow.
I'll take the 20 and get it to a red.
Would you guys like to target the dragon, the 4 Pheromancers, or the 2 Panthers?
My aim is certainly going to be the dragon.
Yeah.
The dragon takes this hit of spiky frozen rain being propelled at magical speeds. It roars in surprise and pain and anger as it reels backward from the incredible force of this blow, and there are very large chunks of ice sticking out from its metal armor. Skeletor, it is your turn.
That panther. It looks so familiar. Panther? Panther, is that you?
Skeletor, you know that creature?
It's my panther.
They may have already Phyrexianized some Eternians. Don't worry, I say, all right, everyone, take that panther alive. I'll hit it with my cure, and I'll try to keep it sedated. I turn and my hand gives Skeletor a pat on the shoulder, and then just turns back to fighting.
I never thought I'd feel this way.
Mordin, it is your turn.
Yeah, I might want to try to neural shock Panther.
Oh boy, Panther rolled a 7 on his psyche check, so Panther does drop twitching as he gets hit by your neural shock. So Panther is out of the fight.
Ah, buddy. Oh. Panther.
He's all right, Skeletor. He's just sleeping.
You know, like you always do. It'll be fine.
Sombra, it is your turn.
Sombra is going to unleash all 3 of her machine pistol attacks onto the other panther. Can she also fade into invisibility after that attack?
You may. So go ahead and roll your 3 gun attacks first.
Uh-oh. Blanco. E. Ah! No manches!
So you didn't hit once?
Nope. Kitty cat too fast. Yeah, she yells, no manches, as she disappears into the air.
That brings us to Daenerys, who looks over at the Slash Panther, takes in a deep breath, and says, Fusroda! And there's this wave of energy that comes out of her mouth. This wave of force hits the Slash Panther full on, picks it up into the air, and sends it flying over the edge of the cliff.
Nice.
The remaining Slash Panther is gone. Would anyone like to control Daenerys from here on out?
I'll happily do it.
All right, cool. I will shoot you her character sheet. So that brings us now to the Molten Steel Dragon, who turns toward Elijah and Titania, opens its mouth, and spews forth a wave of glowing molten metal at the 2 of you. I need both of you to roll agility, please, with a bonus for improved dodge.
I do not have that. I will definitely be spending karma on this.
Yeah.
Well, I had to spend 10, so I will spend 11 to get that to red.
Green.
So, Elijah, you managed to jump out of the way, and the area where you were just standing is covered in glowing, steaming, bubbling metal. Titania, you also managed to get out of the way, but you don't get quite far enough away, and so you are hit with a wave of crippling heat. You take 25 damage from that. That brings us to the 4 fallen Pheromancers. Each of the Pheromancers spreads their arms. Iron shards seem to detach from their bodies and then fly forward in a storm. We have 1 attack going for Skeletor, 2 going for Mordin, and 1 going for Daenerys. All right, Skeletor, I'm going to say you have fallen to your knees out of grief and therefore are a smaller target, and they miss you.
Yay!
He like falls right as the attack goes over him.
Well, apparently these Phyrexians still have summoning sickness or something, because they are just missing left and right. There's
Wow.
a
Great.
giant storm of infected Phyrexian iron shards that don't even come close to Skeletor, Mordin, or Daenerys. So you guys are fine. We are back to the top with Elijah.
You want to do another hit on that dragon? That worked out pretty well.
Yes, we'll do that again.
Like a focused blizzard right on the dragon.
Yellow.
Yellow.
The dragon freezes solid, and then if you like, it can shatter. Or you can just have a nice big frozen dragon. But either way,
I run up and kick it in its dragon balls.
I had a feeling. Yeah, Elijah Snow kicks this thing to pieces. The molten steel dragon is gone. That just leaves the 4 fallen Phyromancers, and it is Skeletor's turn.
I'm so angry about Panther!
I slap whoever's closest to me.
Thank God we brought him.
I got a green.
Your slap kind of like more just catches this guy in the ear, but it really seems to hurt because he goes down. That brings us to Mordin.
Can I use my ring?
You may.
I'm gonna point it at the 3 who are left and say, all right, let's take this baby for a spin. Sirkesh.
Oh,
What a stupid joke.
Does it work, Dan? I'm just
No,
curious.
the ring does not trigger.
I say, fine. Earth. Ground shakes and some like rocks pick up off the ground or like bricks from the thing and just like fly at him.
Yeah, that works for me.
That is a yellow.
I will say with that, you managed to hit 2 of the fallen Phyromancers, and they fall, as it turns out, taken out by some rocks to the forehead. There's one left, and it is Sombra's turn.
¿Qué tal? She appears right behind the last one and fires. Dos amarillos.
And 1 white, I take it.
Yes.
Yeah, where do you shoot this guy?
The fucking back of the head.
This last Phyrexian goes down in a spray of bullets. You guys have taken out the Phyrexian invaders. Well done. Daenerys is looking at all of you and says, that was really kind of terrifyingly impressive.
That is our specialty.
She looks over at Skeletor, who I assume is still crying, and says, is he going to be okay?
He'll be fine. He's evil.
I'm gonna go tend to Panther and see if I can give him some cure.
You manage to inject this Phyrexian panther, and the process is, relatively quick acting, but it still takes like at least a couple full minutes.
Sure.
But you can see from the injection site, purple fur begins to spread out across this skeletal structure. The musculature is reforming, the Phyrexian infection is going away, and within a few minutes, Skeletor, your friend, lies unconscious but physically restored at your feet.
Panther, I've missed you.
Sombra kind of tentatively taps the top of Skeletor's head. She's like, ay, pobrecito.
Aww.
She's like trying to touch him as little as possible.
Because you find him gross or because you don't want to knock him out accidentally?
¿Por qué no los dos?
I guess, yeah. What do you guys do?
I think we've been made and we should probably leave.
Yeah.
What we came for. We should probably get this back to safer hands.
Dan, do we have a base set up in the Star Wars galaxy? Like, do we have where would I planeswalk back to? Just back to Tatooine or what?
Well, you'd presumably take the DDC back.
Okay.
You can't planeswalk with other people. So you can planeswalk anywhere, basically,
Right.
but everyone else is going to have to take the DDC.
Can we find an extraction point?
The nearest extraction point is the one that you guys came from.
Okay, cool. Mordin's a little I don't know if I'd have a reason to trust Daenerys really quickly. I mean, it took me a while to trust Flemeth, and the only thing that makes Daenerys more trustworthy is my out-of-character knowledge that she's chill.
Sure.
Well, depending on what season of the TV show you're in.
I'm inclined not to trust her either, but I will say that she handed over the thing very quickly. It seems to be the real thing. That, to me, is a show of good faith, at least.
I feel like we can trust her for like 7.5 seasons.
We could use the help, and she's got a hell of a voice.
I mean, we brought this one in. He points to Skeletor.
Yeah, he keeps saying he's evil, and we keep him.
Yeah, like, what are we really pretending? We're not a fucking orphanage right here? Like, come on. Saddle up, Daenerys. Let's go.
All right, fine. Welcome to the League.
Oh, and we thank the monks.
Oh, yeah,
Of course.
because they were chill. Make them all smell good, Titania.
Lord knows the people of this world need it.
I What would be pleasant for monks? What does Titania think would be
Make
pleasant?
them
Probably
not
incense, yeah.
miss sex.
Oh man.
God, that is the antithesis of Titania's power, dude.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
like, what can I know I'm like, I can't do that, but I
Yeah, I
like,
cast remove libido.
oh, I was gonna say that they all find one another remarkably attractive
Oh
now.
my.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's not
Oh,
gonna
I
cause any
love it.
problems.
That's the Megan Bob spell right there.
I mean, but then then every day is like a really nice orgy, I guess.
Well, you've drastically changed the experience of playing through Skyrim right now. Like,
Yep.
the Dragonborn goes up to the monastery and just opens the door
Oh no.
and finds a
It's
pile
just
of naked old
beards
men.
everywhere.
Oh, 11 party. Oh.
Titania has just done like the social emotional equivalent of lighting a match and throwing it on a trail of gasoline behind her and putting on
Yep.
sunglasses as we leave the monastery. That will more of like a slow explosion that will be going off for the next several years. But
So actually, Kit, your guess earlier was correct. Titania is just doing console commands.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've seen these mods in Skyrim before. All right, great. Good job, everyone. Old man orgy accomplished.
That was my own personal side quest.
Megan Bob has unlocked an achievement.
Yep. Megan Bob, Titania doesn't get any karma. You personally get 200 karma.
Nice.
Yay! I'm gonna buy myself a popsicle.
All right, great. So you all descend back down the mountain and across the frozen fields of Skyrim. The sun is just beginning to rise beyond the mountains at the horizon as you approach the extraction point a few hundred feet ahead. This is an otherwise unremarkable spot in this snowy forested landscape, but you recognize it having emerged from it not long ago. Just then, you see a flash of red and you feel your stomach drop. Because stepping out from behind a tree, standing directly on top of the extraction point, is a young, dark-haired woman wearing black armor over red clothing. You recognize her as the red Phyrexian praetor, Azula.
oh,
And she says, "Fancy meeting you here."
Hey, where's your friend, the blue guy?
I don't exactly need him.
I feel like there's only room for one magic bitch here.
I entirely agree. So have you found that gem yet?
Sombra like pulls out the cheese wheels like, this one? Yeah.
I say, isn't this world a little chilly for you?
Oh, I'm warm wherever I go. Now, hand over the gem. I'm going to take it one way or the other. You know that.
So what would be our incentive for making it easy for you?
You know what? You make a compelling point. You see red lines of magical energy begin to extend from her, and she begins to transform. Let's roll initiative.
I got a 10.
10.
Ocho.
10.
I rolled a 1, so my total is a mighty 5.
All right, Azula goes first in the surprise round, because that's
Oh,
kind of her
balls.
thing. She has assumed by this point her Phyrexian form. So she is covered in this red, almost carapace-looking armor, and she has these long braids that turn into lightning that crackle around her like whips. She is going to spread her hands out, and you see these long tendrils of blue fire extend from her fingertips, and she whips them forward. One is going to go for Titania. That is a hit. Titania, you take 100 damage.
Holy shit.
Oh, I'm out then.
All right, Titania drops. And then we have one whip going for Elijah Snow. You are getting hit for 100 as well.
Okay. I am up, but barely.
So that was the surprise round. It is now the main round, and Azula's going first.
Oh boy, we are so fucked.
She's impressed that Elijah managed to stay up. She brings both of her hands together and projects out this, like, long line of fire at you this time.
Can I dodge it?
This one you can. She rolled low enough that you might be able to dodge out of the way. So go ahead and roll agility with a bonus if you have improved dodge.
Alright, karma. Holy shit, I just rolled a 100.
Nice! Elijah, you barely managed to get out of the way. She's pissed off at you at this point, though, but she snarls almost playfully,
You can run, but you can't hide.
and then she raises up one of her fingers, points it at you, and a bolt of lightning shoots out.
Can I dodge that?
Yes, you can. She rolled low enough that you might be able to dodge it.
I will also spend karma on this. A 95, so with Karma, that's 105. That's a red.
Elijah, you are like barely staying ahead of this wave of destruction coming after you,
I
but
don't
you
know
are still
where
alive.
these rolls are coming from.
It's coming from your love for me, and now you're gonna avenge me of this fucking bitch.
Goddamn right. Elijah's pissed off because Titania went down. That's what happened.
Skeletor, it is your turn.
Interesting, and you seem quite evil. Maybe in one world we would be friends, but not this one!
Skeletor, how about some magic?
I will acquiesce your request, Mordin.
I'm going to cast Darkness Generation to stun her. Yellow.
You managed to hit Azula full on with a blast of darkness to her face. She is somewhat dazed from the attack, and she has lost one of her attacks every turn for a bit as long as this effect lasts. Titania, it is your turn. You are KO'd. I need you to make an endurance check.
Yellow.
Okay, so you have not slipped closer to death. Elijah, it is your turn.
Alright, so amazing damage or freezing. Does that mean I can freeze her?
Yes, you can try to freeze her solid.
I am going to attempt to do that. Yeah, and I will spend Karma, of course. I will click that to a red.
So, Elijah, you muster up just about the biggest blast of ice you can possibly manage. Like, the air around you grows slightly warmer because you are drawing in as much cold as you can into yourself, and then you fire it off in a massive wave. It flash freezes around Azula's armored form as her hand is still extended from her last lightning bolt. She has been frozen. You can see, however, that the ice is already starting to pool around her feet as she's melting her way through. Sombra, it is your turn.
Sombra's gonna pull out her machine pistol and fire off all 3 rounds at Azula. Amorillo y rojo.
All right, you managed to get 2 hits on Azula. Surprising no one, she is still up.
Sombra's gonna peace out with invisibility. Bye.
Daenerys, it is her turn, Miles, if you would like her to do something.
I'm kind of tempted to summon a dragon.
Yes.
Whenever that's an option, it's usually a good decision.
Yeah, Daenerys is gonna say, Ora Ving?
So Daenerys uses the Call Dragon shout. The thump of massive wing beats suddenly fills the air as a dragon suddenly lands in the snow nearby and lets loose an ear-splitting roar that almost knocks you all off your feet. What would you like the dragon to do, Miles?
I'm gonna go with not the fire quite yet. I'll do the bite. How about the bite?
The dragon lunges forward and takes a big bite out of Azula, who takes a nice chunk of damage from that. Which brings us now to Mordin.
I'm going to administer some Metagel to Titania.
Cool, so Titania, you are up to 50 now, and you are
All
back
right.
on your feet.
Oh, thank you, Mordin.
You alright?
Not until she's dead and bleeding, but I will be.
That's fair.
Azula is up. She is going to try to break out of this ice, and does so. She bursts free of the ice in a blast of fire. The chunks fly, smoking and melting away from her, but that was her one action because she's still partially stunned from Skeletor's attack. So that brings us to Skeletor.
Is she still really mad at Elijah Snow?
She's kind of mad at all of you. She's especially mad at Elijah, though, who just froze her.
I'm gonna make 5 illusions of Elijah Snow.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Where are you making them?
All around her like a mere funhouse.
I am going to use Karma. I'm going to make it a red!
So Azula has broken free of the ice, only to find herself surrounded by a bunch of Elijah Snows. Titania, you are back on your feet. What would you like to do?
Hey, you know that thing you guys did with that ice?
Yes.
Yes.
Mordin brings up his Omni tool, and then just like it's like there's like liquid nitrogen-y icy fumes start coming out of the end of his hand. He says, "Room for one more?"
I mean,
You know, I was going to try and seduce her, but yes, this sounds like more fun.
All right, so you guys are going to hold and turn this into a triple attack.
yeah.
So you guys are moving down on the initiative, which brings us to Sombra.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Sombra's gonna try and get her EMP attack ready to go a lot sooner. So she's gonna start like beep booping her little pink holograms and begins to overclock her system. Karma! Do I just need to get it to a green?
Yes.
Okay, we can make that happen. Volvamos a la medianoche!
So a wave of electromagnetism washes off of you and gets a direct hit on Azula, and you see her Phyrexian armor is stripped off of her. It looks like it's just blown away like dust. And she just like looks down at her normal human self in open bafflement, looks around at the illusions of Elijah Snow around her, and like spreads out her hands to shoot fire at them, but nothing comes out.
Ay, qué triste.
I'm gonna roll for how long she's lost her powers.
That seems like a really good time for some sort of combined triple cold attack.
Yeah, let's do it.
It is Daenerys' turn at the moment, though. What would you like Daenerys and her dragon to do?
Well, the dragon is going to breathe fire. Daenerys is going to hold her action until Mordin's turn.
The dragon breathes fire at Azula, who barely manages to jump out of the way, but she does take half damage from the attack, because it did manage to kind of singe her a bit. And that brings us now to the joint turn of Titania, Elijah, Daenerys, and Mordin.
So yeah, Mordin saw what they did before, and he is now going to join in with a cryoblast.
Daenerys is going to join in with Fulcradine.
So we got Daenerys using her frost breath, Titania using weather control, Elijah using cryokinesis, and Mordin using cryoblast.
And Elijah is kind of using his powers to merge all of these into a single attack.
I like it. Give me those sweet rolls.
Karma.
Karma.
I have no more karma, but I still got a yellow.
Green.
Yellow.
Oh, and Daenerys got a red.
You guys hit Azula with the combined force of, like, all the winter in Westeros, basically. Your blast hits Azula full on. She goes flying about 20 feet away just from the sheer force of this blizzard and lies unconscious in the snow.
Nice.
Whew. Holy shit.
Amateur hour. Am I right?
Titania holds out a hand and like to do like magic bitch knucks.
Yeah.
Science bitch
All right.
knucks.
Everybody in the group just like does magic bitch knucks now.
That's right.
Is this
Even
Team
Elijah.
Magic Bitches? Is that our...
Just teen
Skeletor.
bitches.
Get your life debt over here. We're doing something.
Mordin's gonna go up to Azula and inject her with some cure.
Okay, so I rolled a 1 on the length of time that she was EMP'd for.
Oh.
So Mordin, you kneel down in the snow next to her, and her eyes suddenly shoot open, and her hand comes up and grabs your wrist, and she sits up, and you can feel her hand is beginning to heat up to excruciating levels. Mordin, I'm going to need you to make a strength check to try to get your injector into her.
Could I actually do a slightly different thing? As she's grabbing onto me, I just want to say, Earth. And then I want, like, hands of Earth to come up and grab onto her and, like, pull her arms off of me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll say you can use that in place of your strength.
Yeah, I'm gonna use Karma on this. Alright, I spend 29 Karma, and that is a red.
So giant fingers of stone reach up through the snow beneath Azula, and one of them manages to yank her arm down sufficiently that you can get your injector past her arm and into her skin. The cure flows out and into her. You see her eyes roll back into her head. She attempts to let out a shriek of frustration and anger, but falls unconscious instead as the cure begins to eliminate the virus from her.
She's still evil, you know. Like, actually evil, not
Yes.
like Esqueletito.
Yeah.
Should we leave her here or captive?
Captive.
Captive.
Alright.
So, taking up the now unconscious former Red Praetor of Phyrexia, you all head back to the extraction point. Mordin produces the DDC, and you all vanish from Tamriel. Playing Nico Minoru is Miles Schneiderman. Nico, you've recently been transferred onto the Starforge, the massive space station that serves as a dark side-fueled factory, turning out weapons and ships for Doom's empire. You've continued your magical training, while all the while watching as the massive Doom Star grows closer and closer to completion. You know that Doom has been using this plane to secretly construct this ultimate weapon, while Phyrexia itself moves elsewhere in the multiverse, but for the first time, you've started to see actual Phyrexians moving amongst the stormtroopers, and a massive portal opening to the realm of Phyrexia hangs out in space, with ships moving between both universes. With the Doomstar nearly completed, the time for secrecy is over. You are looking out at this site from a large window when you hear a door slide open nearby. A tall, light-skinned, bald human walks through, giving you a cordial smile that doesn't quite reach his calculating eyes. Hello, Nico. I don't believe we've met yet. I'm Lex Luthor. You know, normally I receive a bit more of a surprised or even awestruck welcome.
Do you normally dress better?
He glances down, then back up at you. The corner of his mouth quirks up in a slight smile and then says, "Well, I suppose you'd be the expert on fashion here."
That's correct.
Now that Phyrexia is poised to assimilate this universe, I and the other Praetors have been transferred over. The Father of Machines has become aware that some information has leaked out to your former friends about the location of this place. We expect that they'll be attacking any day, so we want to be sure that they receive a warm welcome.
What did you have in mind?
Oh, you know, the usual. Weapons of war, death, that sort of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Assimilation for those who are willing to undergo it. I think that would probably be the preferential greeting.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, join or die kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when the last time you spoke to Doom was, but he's been a bit on edge lately. He confided in me that apparently he's lost his connection with Azula, and he suspects that she's suffered the same fate as Godzilla. Doom is not especially gracious when it comes to having things taken from him.
No, I don't imagine he is.
So you haven't heard anything about this? He hasn't spoken to you about this?
No, it's been a while since I've seen him. I've been sort of pursuing my own line of research, but it's not moving as quickly as I was hoping. Fortunately, we have all of you guys in your big war machines.
Well, that's what we're here for. At this point, you hear another whoosh as a different door opens. A group of gray-garbed Imperials enter, pulling something on a hovering platform. A quick glance tells you that it's a statue, and you're prepared to ignore it. But then you notice that it appears to be a statue of Dante. And it's not just a statue, it is exactly Dante. It's just made of stone, frozen with a grimace on his face. The Imperials move to set up this statue, this trophy really, in a place of prominence in front of the window. Luthor watches as the statue is brought in and says, "Speaking of your friends, apparently a small group of them were caught trying to escape Mustafar after they destroyed Doom's time platform there. Thankfully, Doom already has what he needs from the different time periods, but you know the Father of Machines, always looking to make an example out of those who oppose him."
Sure, so what's all this? I start examining it closely and with a clinical air.
Doom apparently had a number of mystical traps set up in front of his time platform. They were able to get through them, although several of them triggered, hence your friend's current state.
So, complete petrification, interesting.
That's what I understand. The mystical end of things is not precisely my forte, but that seems to be what happened.
Yeah, so what you need? You need him unfrozen, broken, what are we doing?
Oh no, I believe that Doom wants him precisely as he is. Interestingly, one of the rebels on this mission with your friend was Godzilla, the old Green Praetor himself. We actually have him locked up right now, and Doom is keenly interested in finding out how exactly your friends managed to remove the Phyrexian virus and reprogram him. I'm not sure if Doom plans on reinstating Godzilla as the Green Praetor once all is said and done, but either way, I'm certain he'll be working on a way of counteracting whatever cure your friends have come up with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's Mordin's work. One of their scientists used to hang around him a little bit. He's kind of a creep. Honestly, I don't think Doom will have any problems sciencing his way around him. The man's so close-minded.
Luthor watches as the Imperials finish setting up the statue and then leave. He glances up and down the hallway and then closes in the distance between the two of you almost imperceptibly. Are you truly content being here, learning arcane secrets at the feet of your old enemy, or does the indignity of it burn in you, fueling your desire to continue the mission that you were on until not so long ago? You're not infected, so are you truly Doom's disciple, or do you have other motives?
You know, usually when people start talking about this kind of thing, they're really talking about themselves. I have heard a little bit about you, Mr. Luthor, and it strikes me that if either of us were inclined to feel a loss of dignity in our present positions, it would be you and not me.
You catch a moment of genuine surprise in his eyes before he turns and looks out the window at the stars and at the Phyrexian portal and at the Doomstar. Well, all of us have had our own lives, our own stories before we were pulled into this one. I myself, as you may know, seeing as you've looked into me, spent years on my world accumulating wealth, knowledge, experience.
Power. Don't forget about the power.
Well, funny you mentioned power. What my experience taught me was that when one man stands above the rest, When one man believes that his power gives him the right to tell others how they should be living their lives, well, that's when the small folk need to band together and stand up. Doom may have brought me into his fold, but I'm still the man I always was, and I still believe the things that I always have, and Lex Luthor has no patience for tyrants. If your friends charge in without a plan, they're going to be slaughtered. Doom is too powerful. He's too smart, and his forces are too vast. I think what your friends could use is some help from the inside, and I'm curious as to what you think.
Well, first of all, charging in without a plan is 100% what's going to happen. As far as helping my former friends from the inside, you forgot the word former earlier, Lex? What I think is that all of this can be avoided with further study. And I've said as much to the man himself. But I don't have any intentions of moving openly against him.
Well, I don't think I was talking about moving openly against him. If you have any interest in seeing your friends succeed, then perhaps we could arrange for a way for you to speak to them, to give them some insight, give them some information that might actually help them to succeed instead of having them charge in blindly. Were you so inclined to give your friends help, might be able to, say, enter into this communications room between the hours of 0100 and 0200, when the usual technicians would not be at their posts, and when any transmissions sent out would be completely untraceable, at which point the specific information to get in touch with your former friends would be on the communication station.
That's a very interesting hypothetical. I still haven't heard anything about what you think I would tell them.
As it happens, the Father of Machines is rather paranoid about having his creation turned against him, and so he saw fit to include a remote detonator here in the Starforge itself, just in case he needed it. The detonator is held in a chamber, its entrance is magically warded, and is guarded by a small army of heavily enchanted war droids programmed to immediately kill anyone other than Doom who attempts to enter the chamber. Not that I would ever attempt to enter the chamber, of course, but were I to do so, I would not even be capable of activating the detonator without Doom's permission, the Phyrexian programming and all. You don't have that Phyrexian programming, however. That's interesting, isn't it?
That is indeed very interesting, Lex. Thank you for telling me about that. I'll consider it. Should I also consider not telling Doom about this conversation and about the fact that you seem to be of two minds about your position here?
I am purely entertaining hypotheticals here, Nico.
I won't tell Doom about this conversation for the time being.
Well, I suppose that presents an interesting hypothetical as well, doesn't it?
Always so many hypotheticals. That's why I like magic.
Speaking of, I should let you get back to your studies. It's been interesting talking to you, Nico. I'm sure we'll speak again.
Sure.
With that, Lex turns and walks out through the door he entered from.
Nico looks at Dante, kind of comes up close to him, looks him up and down, sees the ring on his finger, looks over at where Lex has just departed, and just says, "Well, that just made things interesting."
Extraordinary League is produced by Dan Mulkerin, with logo design by Claire Mulkerin.
Special thanks to Kevin McLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Motherload, and to TabletopAudio.com for our background music and ambient sound effects.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Wait. I'm sorry. Did you just say in a starry, war-torn universe?
I did not just say that, Miles. I have been saying that for several episodes now.
This is the first time I've noticed it.
Yep. That's
You
how
and me
I'm-
both, Miles.
A starry, war-torn universe. Okay.
people need to know which universe I'm talking about.
Out of all the shit that's happened in the show, Miles, that was the line for you of too cheesy, too weird, or like...
Yeah, that was really, the straw, the Campbell, the back, you know how it is.
All right.
Listen, I've been looking to break this camel's back for a long time now. And
Yeah,
if
we've just been heaping shovelfuls of straw on this thing's
That's
back
right.
ever since we started. So
yep.
Camel is crippled now. It won't be able to provide for its camel family, Dan, and it's your fault.
You do realize that Dante from Devil May Cry owns a Mario Kart now, right? Like, that one didn't do it for you?
Mordana returns.
That's right.
Oh, poor Dante.
yes, somewhere in the multiverse, Dante got a boner. Just
Somewhere in the multiverse, a statue got a boner.
Yeah, what we actually don't realize here is that Dante wasn't actually affected by that trap thing before. It was just at this immediate moment, Claire, Mordin became Mordana, and the boner was so strong he just
His
turned
whole
his
body
entire
was stone.
body to
Permanently
stone.
hard.
yeah,
Yeah, when he talks about
Yeah.
becoming rock hard, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
lovely.
All right, great. Now that that's out in the world.
Given that Mordin is now a planeswalker with a magic ring and with the holographic projection of a woman, do I count as a magic bitch?
Yeah,
Yes.
you absolutely do.
Mordin, we're going to have a very long talk about what it means to be a magic bitch, and by the end of it, you will fully have embraced this lifestyle.
I would argue that Skeletor is definitely a magic bitch.